For some, it's the Super Bowl. Others, it might be the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. But election season, that's my playground. I'm Joe DeLong, CEO of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. CCM is the statewide association of towns and cities. So what does that mean? It means wherever you are in Connecticut today, CCM is in your community working with your elected officials to try to make things better. We do things like teaching best practices through trainings and workshops. We provide municipal officials with objective research. We offer a series of joint purchasing programs that save taxpayers millions of dollars. And many communities, including our school systems, use our insurance program, which is CCM's largest service program, KERMA. But when we're not in your community performing those services directly, we're working at the federal and state level, advocating on behalf of Connecticut cities and towns. So what are some of our recent successes? Well, just in the past couple of years, CCM has worked at the federal level to return billions, literally billions of dollars of taxpayer money to towns and cities across Connecticut. During the pandemic, we worked with the governor's office to write executive orders to make sure that our cities and towns could stay open and provide the services that our residents need in a very transparent manner. We worked with the General Assembly to cap car taxes. And in this past session, we built an entire coalition to work with the General Assembly and Governor's Office to finally come up with a sustainable solution to the issue of air quality in our schools. But all of those successes aside, this campaign season, there's still one incredibly pressing issue that must be addressed. And we're asking our candidates to talk about it, and we're asking the electorate to engage with the people who want to represent you and find out where they stand on these issues. And that is finally, once and for all, addressing Connecticut's significant over-reliance on property taxes. Now, what can be done? We've talked about this for years. I'm going to give you 3 simple solutions that candidates, including those for governor and those that want to join the General Assembly, should be talking about this election season. 3 simple reforms that could really change the lives of residents in Connecticut. The first reform is mandates reform. Now, what is a mandate? A mandate is when the General Assembly passes into statute something that a community must do, but does not give the community any funding or support in doing it. So what does that mean? That gets funneled into the property tax. Believe it or not, some estimates show that Connecticut has nearly 1,400 unfunded mandates in general statutes. That's 1,400 times over decades that the General Assembly has passed and a governor has signed into law legislation to raise your property taxes. What we would ask candidates to do is to identify a small number. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 5. Heck, maybe it's just 1 mandate that they would be willing to repeal to provide some relief to Connecticut property taxpayers. Now listen, if your candidate says, I'm not willing to repeal any of those because I think they're all important, well, how about this? How about asking them to commit to passing legislation that going forward would require a 2/3 vote of the General Assembly to enact any new mandates? That would provide a significant protection to Connecticut's property taxpayers. The next issue I want to talk to you about of those 3 issues is reforming how we deliver shared services in the state at the local level. And that's going to require some collective bargaining reform. Now, I know that makes people shudder. They think initially Connecticut has a great history to collective bargaining. You're trying to get rid of collective bargaining. That's not the case at all. We should collectively bargain for wages and benefits and working conditions. But do you know in Connecticut, sometimes it's collectively bargained in a town that you can assign a worker to work within the town lines, but you can't ask them to work across the town lines? That means you can ask somebody to do their job 10 miles in one direction, but not 10 feet in another. Number 1, it's not efficient. Number 2, it's not a very nice way to treat our neighbors. We should never be collectively bargaining away our ability to work together as a state. The second part of shared services reform to collective bargaining should be requiring collective bargaining to be done in a coalition when people are trying to combine services. So how does that work? Well, it could be within a community itself. It could simply be the Board of Education and the general government are trying to combine their IT department. Or it could be across multiple communities where they're trying to deliver a service in a more effective and efficient manner. But a lot of times these things don't get done because although you're bringing a lot of people together to perform the same job, they're in 6 or 7 different bargaining units, so you're having to bargain separately with each one of those bargaining units. And I think most people realize you can't have people working side by side doing the same job that are working under completely different contracts. So we think that the legislature should pass a statute requiring that when multiple bargaining units are involved, that they have to bargain as a coalition, just as the cities and towns should bargain as a coalition. So you have one position here, and everybody's working together in a collaborative way so we can do things differently. And finally, the last piece of this is reforming the way that we collect revenues or generate revenues at the local level. And that's going to require revenue diversification and not everything coming from the property tax. Now, let me be clear. Connecticut residents are taxed enough. We don't need new taxes to generate additional revenues. But what we do need is to change our tax code to collect revenues in a more diversified, more competitive way, to relieve some pressure on the property tax and spread it out into other parts of our economy. This is how it's done all over the country. It's not a novel concept. It's what other places do to make themselves more competitive. Here in Connecticut, if we did that, not only will we be providing relief to homeowners, allowing more senior citizens to be able to stay in their homes when they get on a fixed income, but we'd also provide stability and predictability to small businesses, increasing their investment and their presence within our communities. We would love to engage with you more on these issues. You can learn more about our organization by visiting our website, ccm-ct.org. You can reach us there via email. You can reach out to us via phone, or we would love to meet and have these discussions with you right in your communities where we're living and working every day. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.